Welcome to JA Millionaire Circle, where wealth starts with mindset, where Jazmin and Angelica, two ambitious Latinas sharing our raw, real time journey to millionaire status. No overnight success stories here, just the hustle, lessons, and mindset shifts as we make it happen. Let's build, elevate, and inspire together. Hey, Angelica,
Yeah. Hey, Jazz. What up?
how's it
What's
going?
new? So much is happening, y'all. It's, I mean, oh, me and Jazz have so many crazy things happening right now that we can't talk about, but we're excited to get through so we can talk about later. So, what do you want
Yeah,
to start with?
oh my gosh, so much going on behind the scenes in our personal lives. Like she said, there, and we will, when the time is right, we definitely want to talk about it and share how we're overcoming it, because that's what we love to talk about here is the challenges that we experience and how we overcome them, because that's what we're all about. Grace and grit. That's
That's
the
what we're
only
calling it right
way.
now.
Yeah, that's what we're going to call this episode, Grace and Grit. How we can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. Well, I
It's the
think we should,
season.
yeah, I think we should start with what we have going on right now. I know, and we'll start with you, Angelica, and then we'll come to me. What's going on? I know we're in the PhD program, and anything else going on that we can talk about?
Right now, yes. I started
Okay.
working as an executive assistant for a really nice fashion company. I got my own apartment, so getting ready to move in, do all that. A couple things that are happening in the moment that I'm not able to discuss, but I'm super excited to for later. It is a season, I will say that. It's no easy cakewalk, but I think growing up the way that I did and you did, and having the, I think, disadvantages within growing up right away, like the odds have always been against us. So I think now is just like you said, carrying it with grace and grit. Like I didn't know that my parents weren't supposed to go to prison or sell drugs or grow up and go shelter to shelter and not experience with what unconditional love was and things like that. And I think right now I'm going through a really tough season that most people won't be able to endure right now. Like I'm on the other side of the world away from family, friends, and it's been very difficult to navigate that without support. But it is a new season, and growing up through everything that I went through hasn't, it's helped me so much to navigate through these things that I'm like, the average American probably couldn't get through. And I'm over here just skating through it. I'm like, whatever happens, happens. I've accepted it and I'm handling it as it comes. I'm not letting it make me. So
And for those of you that are watching that haven't seen us before, I thought it'd be a great idea to kind of talk about our backgrounds again, why we're doing this, and why our particular voices we believe have credibility. So in Angelica's story, I'll point out some highlights, but she can go into more depth. Her parents were incarcerated when she was very young, so her and her other siblings had to be put into the system, and the odds were stacked against them. You know, statistically, and I'm sure Angelica can speak to this better. Um, like what happens? What normally happens to people that get kids that get put into the system, and their odds for success, I'm sure, are very low. And talk about that journey and how, the odds against you, and then what did you do differently, because you beat the odds and you turned your life around. And so yeah,
thank you
tell your
for
story. Yeah.
redoing it for me because I'm
Yeah.
not a very compelling storyteller, but I'm learning how to be and learning how to craft it. But the odds are significantly different than where I am now. Half of the women, 50% of them end up pregnant outside of aging out. Um, I believe half of them end up in prison after a year, or homeless, or on drugs. And I think it is 80 or 70% of inmates on death row are former foster children, or former people that went through what I went through. So,
And
summarize it, that's basically where I was supposed to be. I went through a large amount of things that, I mean, they may seem normal, and I just slowly talk about them like they're not a big deal. Like, yeah, my parents were this, or I counted trash bags of money growing up, and when the cops would pull us over, they would search the car because my mom was like a three-time felon and she was an automatic search. So sometimes I had to, I don't want to incriminate myself, hide things. And so I had to go through things that weren't normal. And I'm super grateful for it. Um, I really don't know how to be a better storyteller, and I'm learning that because I'm still processing it. And even within the season that I'm in, without putting too much emotion behind it, it's even a little hard to talk about it now because I'm like, I've overcome all that, and I'm still overcoming things that are super hard right now that I'm doing by myself. I'm having to pick up my pieces of my life and figure it out. Me beating the odds in the way I wanted to was because I remember, or what compelled me to was I remember being grown up and not having anything at all in my control. And I remember listening to different music, and I remember manifesting and imagining a life that, you know, as it was raining and I was looking out through the window getting out of school and going into this big white bus that they would pick us up in from the shelter, and all these other kids that were on medications and restrained. I mean, you're around kids that have disorders or they were born on drugs, so they're just on a bunch of medication. And you're just like, crap, I'm going to put this iPod shuffle on and hope I don't see any of this. And as I'm doing it, I'm like, I'm going to be wealthy. I have to be successful. I imagined what my furniture looked like in my first apartment before it happened. Like, I knew what kind of car I wanted. I knew what kind of parent I wanted. So that kind of shaped me into the adult that I wanted to be, because as now that I get older, I'm like, this is the parent that I needed. And that's why I dress the way I dress, the way I speak, the way that I speak. I try to gracefully do everything the way I would have wanted it when I was a child, because I feel like in a way that's healing to me. And I have nieces also that I've done things with that healed me. And so I can't imagine what it's like when I do decide to have kids and go through there. But that's a little bit of my stuff, and I wanted to get into it with you too and kind of invite you into this.
Thank you. Thank you. There's two points I wanted to make from your story that I really like, that that resonated with me, that I want the audience to know, is that there you talked about the music, how you've always used music to get yourself in a different mindset, a different headspace, and allow yourself to dream, allow yourself to fantasize. You fantasized about the life you were going to have. You fantasized about the clothes you were going to have and the furniture you were going to have, and that fed you, that fed your soul and kept you going. That was one thing. Then you still do, I know that you still implement this. But there's another thing, another story you told me that I thought was just so powerful. I want to say it was like one of your last years in foster care, that there was like jackets that got donated, and you got this one particular jacket, and you said like you loved the way it felt because like when you wore that jacket you felt powerful. You're like, I'm going to be this. Talk about that jacket, because like that also
Ah,
helped you put you into that mindset.
that makes me so emotional. But I remember being aged out, and it goes along the story of whenever I went to college and they were like, sorry, you're not college level ready. And I took all the tests and stuff, and I went outside and I looked at all the cars and I saw the BMWs and I saw the Mercedes and the Escalades, and I was like, okay, this makes no sense that any of them got there without a college education. So I had the music on and I was like, it doesn't make sense. So I went back in, and there's this lady with this stretched out TJ Maxx shirt and she was popping her gum, and I said, make me college level ready. And she's like, it's going to take you 6 years. And she's just smacking her gum or whatever. But the disrespect that I felt because I didn't know that I had to dress a certain way and speak a certain way and present myself a certain way, I didn't get treated with respect. So one day I went over to my aftercare caseworker because I would go there to check in with her. And I went, she was kind of like an aftercare counselor, guiding me with how to utilize the resources that they could help me with. And so a bunch of wealthy people would go and drop off these clothes for donations. And so I mean, they would donate it to us when we were children, or we would get things from a garage sale. So I always have been the one that's totally comfortable with going to a garage sale, even till this day, or a thrift store. That's where you find the best pieces. And oh my gosh, the story, it can go on. But I remember one day I went through the clothes and I was already aged out. Like I couldn't get any more benefits. And my caseworker was like, you can't have that. Sorry. And it was a beautiful Tracy Ellen coat, size 2. I was still 120 pounds probably. But I remember looking at it and I was like, I got to have that coat because I'm going to be a lawyer. I thought I wanted to be a lawyer, so I thought I knew what lawyers look like, and that was my goal. And she was like, "Sorry, you're aged out. You can't get this." And I was like, "Please, please, please, can I have it?" Like, I never had a coat like this, and it was like a movie star coat. I'll have to wear it on the next episode. I just actually got it back from the dry clean, so it looks all nice and crisp. But I remember putting it on, and I was like, the whole attitude changed. My demeanor, the way I was speaking, the way I would do my makeup, the way I would do my hair. I mean, the coat went all the way down to my ankles, and with the heels, the way it propped me up a certain way, I was like, I'm not who I thought I was. And so that really changed everything for me. It opened my eyes to be like, wow, all I had to do was change my outfit, and it changes everything else around me.
I
And
I love that you point that out because that is definitely something that I do for my clients in my coaching, and I talk about like the importance of mindset, right? And you found a way to get into that mindset, but then also how you package yourself, how you present yourself. You show up differently when you are dressing and showing up as the person you want to be versus the person you have been. You realized you walk, talk, and acted very different. And then the other piece was you mentioned how you didn't know proper etiquette, you didn't know how to show up, you didn't know how to conduct yourself. That's another thing. Etiquette, knowing the do's and don'ts, the faux pas of what is acceptable in different settings, whether it's professional, whether it's romantic, whether it's like just a social gathering. All of those things matter in wanting to climb the socioeconomic ladder and wanting to improve the quality of your life. So just because you were born into a situation where I mean, some people don't even start at zero. Some people start in the negative, like us. And we had to figure out how to even just get to the zero playing field so that we can continue growing. And we've said this in previous podcasts. It's like some people climb a mountain. It's like for some people it's like climbing a hill. For us, it was climbing Mount Everest because we had to
it
go
was.
double the distance just to get to where we are. And in that process, we developed grit and we did it gracefully because of learning. When you go through experiences like we have gone through experiences, you develop a lot of not only strength, but also compassion because you're like, I know what it's like to feel like at the lowest low. I know what it's like to feel in the trenches. I know what it's like to not feel worthy, to feel like you don't deserve something, but or you've been told you're not deserving of something, but in your heart, you know that this life, these things are not just for a special few. It's for anybody who wants to go after them and wants to do the work and build that life.
You couldn't convey
So
it better.
I tried. So
No, you're right.
on my side, my story, and that's why I love leading with Angelica because her story is just so amazing and compelling, and I hope to hear her share that story on more platforms because I mean she is truly an inspiration to go from as she gave you all the statistics like she was not expected to be successful in any way. And not only did this girl climb out of that, she put herself through college, got multiple degrees, just got her master's in hooded last year, and now this year working on her PhD. And I need to correct the way I address her because she is Dr. Angelica now.
Not yet, not yet, but we're getting there.
The
We're working
process.
towards
We got
it.
to get used to her. Yes, she's already there. She's already in the bag. We already know she's got it. So how beautiful a story that is, and it did not come easy. There were lots of tears, there's lots of pain, and there's lots of moments of self-doubt, but something in her deep down knew that she deserved better and she was going to get better. And same thing for me. I am the oldest of five children. I was born to a teenage mother, and I am, I guess you could consider me first or second generation Mexican American, depending on which side of the family we're talking about. My father wasn't in the picture, so my mom had to grow up very young and keep me alive, keep me fed. I knew what it was like to grow up with no financial stability. We lived off of food stamps. We shopped at secondhand stores, so I knew what it was like to be poor, to be at a disadvantage, and I know what it's like to have that narrative told to you day after day growing up. is that we don't have the money for that. That's for the rich people. That's not us. This, we, be humble. Just be grateful for what you have. And it was a very confusing narrative to grow up to because there was something in me, just like Angelica from a very young age, that said, no, no, I think I deserve more. I think I want more. And I don't think it's just for special people. I think it is for all of us. I just haven't cracked the code yet. And at a very young age, my things were I hadn't discovered music yet to motivate me. That happened later on. But for me, it was I just started observing. I started watching. I started realizing, okay, who are the successful in my world at that time was students. Like, who are the successful students? Who are who who's getting ahead? What are they doing differently? And then I just copied them. If they were getting into honors classes, doing extracurriculars, I just started copying them. And then believe it or not, just by being around them, I ended up accelerating my growth and my process. And and I did the same thing in college. I surrounded myself with people that were doing the things that I wanted to do or had the knowledge that I wanted. And I would just learn from them. I just became this constant sponge of like, okay, what are you doing that I'm not doing? So let me do it. I had this fearlessness of, I don't, well, I wouldn't even say fearlessness. I just had the audacity because I was scared. I was scared,
Oh,
but something in me said, you know what? Let me just do it scared. Let me figure it out. Let me copy what they're doing. And somehow it worked. There's a recipe to it. And I learned how to walk the walk. I learned how to talk the talk. I learned how to dress. I knew how to conduct myself just like they did. I read books, studied, learned from just watching. And I got myself through college. I put myself through college. I got into the medical device industry. I climbed the corporate ladder, made it to the very top of my career, and decided to exit, making a nice, healthy six-figure salary. I exited last year and decided to launch my own business, which I am currently working on at the moment. And now it's like I went to the top of one mountain, I went to the bottom of another, and I'm climbing this new mountain. And there's a lot to learn, but the beauty of it is I've already built this muscle. There was the muscle I built in childhood, the muscle I built in college, the muscle I built in the corporate world. It's the same thing, that grace and grit over and over, that grace and grit. I can't control what happens to me, but I can control what happens next and how I respond. So that's that's kind of my background and what I've been, and let's just go into it. What have I been up to? I have been working on a book, and I think we mentioned it last time. I wanted to put some of my personal stories, just like we discussed today. I have some of my personal stories of how how they impacted me in different ways in different areas, from confidence to finance to etiquette. What were those defining moments, and what did I learn? How did I learn? And what are the things that I'm implementing now? And I would love to say it is finally here
yay!
in real
You
life.
guys,
Oh my
I
God.
know. I'm so
And
proud of you.
I cannot believe it. Look at it. So this is just because it's not for resale. This is the proof that I had to review to make sure that everything was legit. Everything came out nice. But this is the back, and then this is the front.
I
And
know. It
this
looks
has
so good.
been a year in the making. You could possibly say a lifetime in the making because I talk about moments from my childhood. I talk about moments from my adult life. And I'm a little nervous because there's some very vulnerable stories in here that could possibly paint me in a negative light, but I'm human, and these were the things that I experienced. These were the thoughts that I had, and this is what led me to the woman that I am today. And what I hope with this book is that any woman who reads this finds it not only inspiration, but lessons that I had to learn the hard way that you could possibly implement in your life, and avoid some of that pain and take my lessons. So
Yeah,
this
you
is
didn't have anyone
launch.
to hold your hand.
No, I had to learn it the hard way.
Sorry, I
And
didn't mean to
this, no,
interrupt.
no, you're fine. This comes out September 9th. It is available on my website. And the I'm taking pre-orders now. And anybody who gets orders a pre-order book, it will be personally signed by me. So that that has been a big project in the works. So there's that, and I'm getting involved in more speaking engagements to share my story, trying to encourage Angelica to do the same because she has one powerful story.
No, I'm so proud of you. You've made it so far and you've had no one to hold your hand. And I don't think anyone understands how hard it is to get where you are and also be criticized because you didn't have anyone holding your hand. And it's very difficult to separate yourself and it's very isolating and to not be told that you're too good or stuck up or, and
Oh,
there's a lot to carry with that. You almost feel guilty for choosing another life.
oh my God. Can we just like take that one? Because good God, I love where you were going right there. To do something that nobody else is doing does open you up to a lot of comments, feedback, criticism, and it will make you doubt yourself tremendously. And while I've been on this path, and I know, and I'm going to let you speak to this too, Angelica. I know I've gotten a lot of feedback from friends and family, and I know they meant well, but it is so hard to get this feedback from friends and family about things that you're doing. And maybe you should do it this way, or maybe you shouldn't do that, or maybe everybody's got 5 cents, everyone's got an opinion. But it's so hard when you're like, I'm the one in the arena, I am the gladiator on the field, I am figuring it on the fly, I am flying a plane and building it at the same time. And the fact that everybody's like chirp, 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 and I'm like, give me a minute. I have never flown or built a plane before.
You couldn't have said it any better. And that is what makes it so lonely. And it's like I'm doing the best I can to bring up at my ancestors and use all of every strength and ounce that I can as a person. And it might seem like a hard exterior and we've got this and we're strong and we've overcome and done the first steps of doing it. But it's like, even if we went and walked on the moon, they'd be like, well, why didn't you wear these shoes?
I
Why didn't you have your hair up?
know.
Why didn't you
Oh,
wear the white suit like Neil Armstrong? You could have done it that way. And it's like, no,
dear.
I went on the Milky Way,
Oh,
not the moon, baby. This is different. So, I mean, everyone's
oh,
going to have an opinion and it sucks because it'll come harder and hurt harder, even though it doesn't look like it does. We're so strong and we look like we got it together, but it hurts when it comes from your family. The most. Sorry. I feel you. I
no.
feel that.
Seriously, I feel like that's why I'm like also a little nervous about releasing this book because obviously anything that we create, we are scrutinizing. And I'm like, oh, it's not good enough because of this. It's not good enough because oh, somebody's going to find issue with this, or maybe it's not strong. I've never written a book before. And a part of me wants to get a little sassy and go like, if I hear any negative criticism, I'll be like, have you published a book?
What did you do while I was sitting here crying and writing this and exposing my bare bottom for this? Like no one else is doing it. You know how hard it is to even have social media and then have it public? Gosh, that is a lot of pressure from
Oh,
society. And then the people you know,
absolutely.
because they think you're the person you grew up with and they think they know you and they don't know at all. Don't. I'm sorry. I love my family if they're watching this, but no one's left where I'm from. No one's actually like got up and moved their life around. So for me, it might sound sassy, but I'm like, I would never take advice someone that I wouldn't trade places with, respectfully. That's it. And that's what makes me not feel guilty and have anxiety about it because I'm like, you go freaking fly the plane and build it then. Put some rims on it while you're on it. Hell.
Crimson. There was some guts on those.
Trust me, we're handling it with all the grace we can. Might
Oh,
have to put a little hood in it to, but
yeah.
I feel like that's the only way we can relate here. Like, we
Yeah.
got to put our own spin on it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, on that note, we're going to wrap it up. We hope you found something inspiring from our stories, motivating, and we want to hear from you guys. So please, like, comment, share. If you haven't subscribed to us, please subscribe to us. We release a new episode every other week. So please, put on those notifications and stay on top of it. And until next time, keep chasing those dreams and making them happen. Bye.
Bye. So proud of you, Jazz.